माननीय मंत्री जी।
आपको धन्यवाद इसके लिए।
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I thank all the honorable members who participated in this discussion on the budget. Honorable Speaker, sir, you rightly said more than 80 members have spoken on the budget discussion. In the last few days, you've held it, even if it was late in the night, and the members' enthusiasm in talking about the budget and getting into some details actually has motivated me that the interest in this year's budget, like last year's and the previous years as well, has been not just cursory. People have gone into the details, and therefore it gives me greater motivation to reply. And of course, as things stand, and this is subject to correction, I am also given to understand that nearly 45 members of parliament have given their written speeches. Sir, I would have actually started off with the budget all over again in terms of some very distinct features which are there in the budget, but I'm very tempted to take it off and start from the first speaker of the opposition. And that is only because, of course, I'll be answering many of the questions that he's raised, but maybe because he wanted to sound a lot more interesting about the budget, his criticism started off by saying, Amrit Kal over the next 25 years, today the people of India are facing Andhkal. Kyunki a very senior member of the House starts saying that this is not Amritkal, it's Andhkal, I thought we should just go over that a bit more so that members would also know what probably is running in his mind. Sir, there certainly was an Andhkal in this country. But that Andhkal was thanks entirely due to the Congress. And I list out a few things why. No one of us can disagree that Andhkal that was. Start with the fact that in 1991, we had foreign exchange reserves only for 2 weeks. उससे पहले emergency का काल भी हम सब जानते हैं. So Andhkal that was. Andhkal again in 1991, when you couldn't manage your foreign exchange, you didn't know what to do. And then, because you were trying to bring in reform, you also claimed we brought the reform, whereas that was under compulsion, like one of our members, honorable members mentioned it. That was Andhkal. Again, double-digit inflation, sir. During the 10 years of UPA, I will get into some of the details a bit later also. And when we are constantly talking about inflation and the government is explaining itself as to what is being done in order to contain what today is being suffered by people all over the world, but that's no excuse. We are responding to the situation in India. Double-digit inflation during UPA 1 and 2, particularly in 2, was Andhkal indeed. And that's the Andhkal probably he's referring to. Third, coal scam. Every day there was headlines in the papers about corruption, 2G scam, Antariksh Deva scam, middlemen everywhere. Country didn't know what's happening. Every morning it was dreadful to see the paper with yet another scam. That was Andhkal, sir. And not knowing how to deal with the country after the global financial crisis, inflation touching 2 digits, and also the situation, macroeconomic fundamentals all going either udar, India became one of the fragile 5. That was Andhkal with policy paralysis. So Andhkal, if he is referring, He's referring to his own period, government's period, and from the memory. Whereas what we have created today is a situation where common man feels that he's received the benefits from the government, that which was promised over the decades, and therefore entering into the next 25 years towards India at 100 would be certainly the Amrit Kal that all of us are referring to. And why do I say that? Jan Dhan Yojana brought in financial inclusion for all Indians. And today, I can say there are 44.58 crore accounts, and in those accounts which were made fun of, saying this is zero balance account, how can you have accounts where there is not going to be any balance? There are 1.57 lakh crores as deposits in those Jan Dhan accounts. And Jan Dhan accounts include 55.6% women's accounts. So the coverage of man, woman, and the coverage of rural, urban, everything is taken care of when we are talking about Jan Dhan. So that is the first footstep towards moving towards financial inclusion and moving towards Amrit Kal. Sir, again, 44 unicorns have successfully been identified in this country, and they've created wealth. They've also become the new showcasing of India's talent and innovation, and this has happened between 2020 and 2021. 20 crore women were given during the pandemic 500 rupees directly by the click of a button in DBT format, and the monies went into their accounts, and therefore this again is true inclusion and inclusive development. 2,000 rupees again was also given to farmers, and that gets given every now and then, so annually 6,000 rupees for sure goes into their accounts. This is actually leading towards Amrit Kal. Swanidhi Yojana, more than 33 lakh loans amounting to 3,407 crores have also been sanctioned, and more than 29 lakh loans amounting to 2,989 crores have been disbursed. And this covers poor street vendors who otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to enter the bank to claim credit or loan. They've been covered, indeed leading towards Amrit Kal for our country. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, sir, 3 crores of houses have been sanctioned, of which more than 2 crore houses have already been completed in this country. And therefore, Amrit Kal, it will be from now for all these people leading towards India at 100. Every village in India has been electrified. And therefore, talking of Andhakal was their time, whereas now you have fantastic lit villages. In every village, every house has got electricity. Jyoti reaching homes. Piped water connection through Nal Se Jal scheme has also been reaching people. MSMEs have received 13.5 lakh MSME accounts were saved due to the ECLGS. 1.5 crore workers have been saved from potential unemployment, and 1.7 billion people have been given free vaccination. If all this is not going to lead towards India at 100 and Amrit Kal, what else could? So therefore, I want to just respond to senior leader Shashi Tharoorji, truly recognize when Amrit Kal was, and what we are leading towards India at 100 is actually Amrit Kal. And in that, the budget this time has stated quite a few things which are going to be leading towards a building of modern India, a 21st century India. First of all is the PLI scheme, where 20,000 crores have been announced, and this is going to be for the thermal power plants, which can be now looking forward to reduction in carbon dioxide. I'm only naming a few, sir. You have 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals, which will all be developed within the country, and this is going to help in movements of goods and services, and also increasing the exports from this country. 4 major multimodal logistic parks are also being established in this country. which again is going to be better for exporters and bring in greater logistic convenience. Urbanization, like many of the speakers have recognized, urbanization is being given high priority. Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities are all going to be ramped up for the facilities which they need. Capacity building commission is also going to help us in plan. And this is not just going to be business as usual, it's going to be a paradigm shift in the way in which we deal with building our cities. Sir, there are many more such announcements which we have made: digital education, digital university, digital banking. You're going to have district level banks which are going to function completely with digital facilities. The central bank is also going to be issuing a digital currency, which I've made an announcement. And more than that, animation, visual effects, gamings and comics, in which our young are experts in. We are creating a committee which will look at possibilities of bringing in various facilities and the framework which is required so that we can be able to produce good gaming and comic through the digital and visual effects through the digital media. 5G, sir, 5G services will also generate new employment, and for that we are also providing the necessary ecosystem. So, in all the budgets, sir, drone technology, which will be of great help for the farmers, is also something which we are giving a lot of importance for. Khelo India, Fitness India for the young are all giving high priority for the youth of this country. There are going to be 1.5 lakh post offices in the country, which will also be more than just post offices, which will have all kinds of banking service facilities. Those who have Sukanya Samruddhi account and PPF account in the post office will also be benefiting from these services. E-NAM is something about which we've spoken. Startups have been given a lot of encouragements, but particularly for startups to help in agriculture, bringing in value addition. We've taken a lot of steps towards that. So I'm not getting into every announcement that I've made in the budget, broadly indicating that we have a clear plan to take all sectors and their development in our mind and move with that intention in the next few years. So, but then one important point which we shouldn't lose sight of. This global crisis, the pandemic, has been one of the absolute rare events in the last couple of 100 years. Even the Spanish flu didn't probably get recorded for the devastation in economy that it created. I would say for India, this is probably the fourth contraction in the GDP triggered off through an international event. 72-73, India saw a contraction in our GDP purely because of the global oil crisis. 79-80, again a contraction in GDP, and this was because of the Iran-Iraq war. After that was the global financial crisis in 2008-9, again a contraction, but none of this was negative. They were all reduction, remaining in the positive territory, but reduction, substantial reduction. And 2008 and 9 also saw it because of the global financial crisis. But what we saw because of the pandemic in 2020-2021, which led to a contraction of 6.6% negative, was one of the worst ever that we could face, and we were not alone in it. All over the country, all over the world, indeed, economies suffered because of such a contraction. But what I would say, no country had any comparator. They couldn't have anything before them to compare what they could do now, what resulted now, with something else which happened before. However, in the recent memory, if we were to look at a globally global economic crisis, which also had an impact on Indian economy. It was the global financial crisis. I'll just like to do a comparison between what was the economy then and what was our solutions for that, and what is the economy now and what solutions we gave for this one. Sir, in a way, the global financial crisis resulted in a reduced gain because it wasn't a negative growth. It was still a small growth, but it was a constricted growth. The reduced gain in the GDP was 2.21 lakh crores in 2008 and 9. Compared to that, the lost GDP now is 9.57 lakh crores. So that is the extent to which we have lost in this pandemic compared to the recently, meaning a decade ago, the global financial crisis. That resulted in 2.212 lakh, whereas now the reduction was far more, it is 9.57 lakh crore. Despite, sorry? I'll tell you. So despite significant supply side disruptions, India's CPI inflation, I'm picking that up for a minute, was 6.2% in 2020-21 as compared to 9.1% in 2008-9. Look at the intensity and the scope and the depths to which Indian economy had to contract. We lost 9.57 lakh crores worth in this global financial crisis, whereas the loss earlier, which is the global financial crisis, was 2.12 lakhs crore. But the CPI inflation now, because I'm purposely bringing this, because CPI inflation is the index with which we measure how prices affect common man. It's the consumer price index. Now that contracted only 6.2 now, whereas for a smaller contraction, which was not even a negative contraction in the global financial crisis period, the inflation, the CPI was 9.1%. What does it mean? That today, in spite of this intense crisis, in spite of the reduction in the GDP to the extent of 9.57 lakh crores, the CPI is well contained and it is only 6.2%, showing that we have managed the economy much better now than it's easy to say now, than a smaller crisis of that time when the contraction was only 2.12 lakh. And that led to 9.1% inflation. The CPI was 9.1%. So it's very, very easy to constantly keep throwing at us inflation, price rise, kya kar rahe ho? Yes, I agree. There is a need for us to do more. That is why we are importing more edible oils. We are removing the restriction on pulses to be imported and so on. But with a smaller reduction in GDP, with not a negative reduction in GDP, still the inflation couldn't be controlled by the UPA government, whereas Prime Minister Modi ensured that it will not cross 6.2, whereas that was 9.1 that time. A common man is affected by CPI, sir, not the WPI. So let us not go on mincing words to constantly keep throwing it at us. You please introspect. Sir, Honorable Speaker, sir, India's current account deficit surplus. All right, sir, India's current account surplus. Current account surplus, sir. Sir, the entire treasury benches heard every comment. And as much as possible, I don't say that I was here 24/7. There were times when I had gone off, and my honorable Minister of State was here to take care of everything which is being said. So when I've come here to reply, I would request through you, sir, some patience so that they hear my answers. They may be satisfied, they may not be satisfied, but kindly hear. I know some of the members who have thrown wild allegations also have gone away. They are not here to listen to my reply, which is really disappointing. Sir, India had a current account surplus of 0.9% of GDP in 2020-21. अब की क्राइसिस के समय हमारे करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस में थी और वो भी 0.9% में थी। मगर 2008-9 ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस के समय यूपीए का करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट में था और वो भी 2.3% डेफिसिट। सो इतना बड़ा क्राइसिस, पैंडेमिक इतना बड़ा, जीएसपी हमारे जीडीपी कॉन्ट्रैक्शन इतना सिवियर, और हमसे बार बोलते हैं क्या कर रहे हैं। सीपीआई को मैनेज किया, करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस में रखा। सो हमारे मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर जरा पॉजिटिव नजरिया से भी 1 मिनट देखने का मैं आंकड़ा बोल रही हूं, मगर ना हम वो सब नहीं देखेंगे। सर, अभी परसेंटेजेस के बारे में प्रेमचंद्रन जी और ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स पूछ रहे थे, इसी कंपैरिजन में परसेंटेजेस भी आपके सामने रखना चाहती। सर, 2008-9 और 2021 रियल जीडीपी ग्रोथ परसेंटेज सर, सर ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस इंसिडेंटली 2008-9 सुनने को पसंद नहीं है तो ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस का नाम याद रखिए। रियल जीडीपी ग्रोथ का परसेंटेज का फिगर बोल रही हूं सर, 2008-9 में 3.1% था। हमारा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ 2020-2021 में, जो उसका नंबर मैंने एक्चुअल नंबर बोले -6.6, हमारा एकदम नीचे गिर गया, -6.6%, वेरस तब +3.1, वो भी कम ग्रोथ में नहीं हुआ, ग्रोथ अच्छा ग्रोथ नहीं हुआ, जस्ट +3.1, वही एक्चुअल नंबर्स में 1 मिनट पहले मैंने बोला। सो 3.1% कंपेयर्ड विद आज का हमारा -6.6। नॉमिनल जीडीपी ग्रोथ उनके समय में 2008-9 के समय में 12.6%, मगर हमारा नेगेटिव -1.4%। सर, ऑलरेडी मैंने बोल चुकी हूं 2.12 लाख करोड़ का उनका रिड्यूस्ड गेन हुआ, वेरस हमारा 9.57 लाख करोड़ तक नेगेटिव गिरे। मगर सीपीआई इन्फ्लेशन 9.1% एट दैट टाइम, 6.2 इन आवर टाइम। कंपेयर करके देखो कि सीपीआई कहां था। करंट अकाउंट बैलेंस जो मैंने पहले बोला -2.3%, उनका हमारा 0.9 प्लस में था। फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स 252 बिलियन उनके समय ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस के ऊपर, हमारा 579, नेट बोल रही हूं, टच 650 बिलियन करोड़ US dollars। FDI flows, FDI inflows उस समय 8.3 बिलियन और हमारे समय अभी 80.1 बिलियन FDI inflows। सर, 1 मिनट, हमारे परफॉर्मेंस इस पैंडेमिक के समय और ग्लोबल परफॉर्मेंस को एक बार देख लेंगे। इंडिया एस्टिमेट ही बोल रही हूं -7.3 एस्टिमेट, वो करेक्ट हो रही है अभी 2020 में -7.3%। ये वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक आउटलुक का प्रोजेक्शन है, मैं सिर्फ वो नंबर ले रही हूं, करेक्ट नंबर नहीं बोल रही हूं। 2021 में जबकि हमारे प्रीवियस साल में -7.3 था परसेंटेज जीडीपी, हमारा ग्रोथ 9% है 2021 को। इस साल हम 9% में कंक्लूड करेंगे। और 2022 अभी आने वाले अप्रैल 1 से आने वाले साल के लिए 9% हमारा ग्रोथ है प्रोजेक्टेड। 2023 अगले साल के लिए 7.1% है, ग्लोबली फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी अभी भी, आने वाले साल भी और उसके अगले वाले साल में भी ग्लोबली फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी का डेटा कंपेयर करेंगे यूएस से, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका से, -3.4 जब वी वेर -7.3, मतलब कम हिट हुआ, ज्यादा हिट उनके ऊपर नहीं हुआ। उनका 2021 का जहां हम 9% में है वो 5.6% में, रिकवरी भी धीरे चल रही है उनका, हमारा रिकवरी अच्छा चल रही है। आने वाले साल में 22 में जहां हम 9% है वो 4% है। नहीं, को कंपेयर करने के लिए क्षमता रखना चाहिए सर। जब डेटा उनके मन में जो विचार है उसके अनुसार नहीं है तो मुझे चिल्ला चिल्ला करके मेरे आवाज को दब करने के लिए कोशिश। सुनने का क्षमता मैच्योरिटी दिखता है, अगर सुनने का क्षमता नहीं है, यू नो व्हाट आई वांट टू से। सो यूएस में ग्रोथ जब -3.4 हुआ, हमारा -7.3 रहा, हम 7.1 में ग्रोथ कर रहे हैं। Oh yes, we'll correct. Don't worry, we'll do that. आदिर जी आपके नेबर है, हम क्यों भूलेंगे। सर, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका मैंने शुरू किया बोलने के लिए, जब उनके गिरावट -3.4 में था, इस साल 5.6, आने वाले साल 4, अगले साल 2.6। उनके रिकवरी का पेस देख लीजिए, हमारे से तुलने के बाद आपको समझ में आएगा। सर यूरो एरिया, पूरे यूरो एरिया का 6.4 -5.2 इस साल, 3.9 आने वाले साल और 2.5 अगले साल। मैं इस कंपैरिजन को क्यों दिखा रही हूं? डेवलप्ड कंट्री हो, इमर्जिंग इकोनॉमी हो, हमारे जैसे एक ही मतलब साइज में छोटा इकोनॉमी नहीं बड़ा इकोनॉमी हो, इन सब का ग्रोथ और इन सब का पैंडेमिक के समय गिरावट, ये सब को कंपेयर करते हुए गिरावट हमारे बहुत ज्यादा हुआ, मगर रिकवरी भी उतना ही पेस में हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। इस साल, आने वाले साल, अगले साल भी बाकी सबका रिकवरी इतने फेस में नहीं है, चाहे वो डेवलप्ड हो, चाहे वो इमर्जिंग हो, चाहे वो छोटा इकोनॉमी हो, कंपेयर करते हुए सबसे फास्टेस्ट रिकवरी, सस्टेन्ड रिकवरी हमारा हो रही है। सो आई जस्ट वांट टू हाईलाइट दैट सर।
That's the point.
Despite biggest fall.
सर,
एक मिनट, अगर देश प्रगति कर रहा है तो अपन क्यों विरोध करें?
सर, हम इस पिछले साल भी और इस साल भी ये पैंडेमिक का इतने अफेक्ट होने के बाद इकोनॉमी कैसे रिकवर होगा, कैसे इसको क्या क्या तरीके में से हम, हाउ डू वी रेस्टोर द इकोनॉमी, इसके ऊपर बहुत हमने चिंता सोच विचार किया। बेस्ड ऑन दैट सर, आई एम बेसिंग ऑन एन आरबीआई एस्टिमेट। आरबीआई का ये एस्टिमेट था सर, सरकार के द्वारा इफ यू स्पेंड 1 रुपी व्हाट विल बी द मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट, मतलब इफ यू स्पेंड 1 रुपी उससे कितना फायदा आपको मिलेगा, और उससे जितना फायदा मिलेगा उसके अनुसार आप खर्च करने में सक्षम, डिसीजन, अच्छा डिसीजन लेने के लिए उपयोगी रहेगा। सो आरबीआई estimate is if you spend 1 rupee on revenue expenditure without creating assets. खर्च करने के लिए पैसा अगर आप देंगे, 1 रुपया अगर खर्च करेंगे रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर में, उसका मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट होगा 45 पैसा। मतलब पूरे के पूरे 1 रुपया का 1 रुपया रिटर्न नहीं मिलेगा, आधा भी नहीं मिलेगा, आधा से कम 45 पैसा तक ही आपको मल्टीप्लायर मिलेगा। इसीलिए रेवेन्यू में खर्च करने में 45 इस साल मिलेगा, आने वाले साल में उसके कारण और 10 पैसा मिल सकता है। In the sense, if you spend 1 rupee, immediately this year you will get 45 paisa worth returns or multiplier, and next year you may get an additional 10 paisa more. So it's not going to be 1 rupee for every rupee. It will not even be 50 paisa this year. So it is no point if you spend that money on revenue expenditure because the multiplier is limited. It's less than 1. RBI's estimate again says that if you spend 1 rupee on capital expenditure creating assets, the return or the multiplier effect will be 2 rupees 45 paisa even the first year. Multiplier effect will be 2 rupee 45 paisa, and additionally the next year and the year after another 3 rupees 14 paisa will get added to it. So, for every public taxpayers' money that we spend on capital expenditure, building assets, building public infrastructure, this year itself you will have 2.45 as multiplier, and the next year you will get 3.14 paisa, 3 rupee 14 paisa. Therefore, we thought public taxpayers' money being spent in creating assets gets us better returns, better multiplier effect, and therefore we chose to spend on capital, in infrastructure building. Okay, infrastructure building, public expenditure, we are borrowing money to do, but we are also ensuring that revenue expenditure is rationalized. I want to convey and put it on the records of this august House that revenue deficit as a percentage of GDP of the government has shown visible decline because it doesn't give you the multiplier that you want. I want to highlight and show that in 2020-21, it is 7.3, which is actual, whereas the BE for 2021-22 is 5.1, sir. 2021-22, RE is only 4.7. And 2022-23, we have put in the BE 3.8 only. Normally, anybody who is looking at budget preparations and budgets of the countries will understand it's highly difficult, very, very difficult to reduce revenue expenditure. But we have shown that without hurting much, revenue expenditure has been rationalized. I just want to put this one on record, sir. Sir, now, in a way, I will respond to members of Parliament who have raised issues. On that, I'd like to give clarification or respond to the questions that members have raised. I'll first start with several members questioning the GDP growth projections. Members have said the real GDP growth rate mentioned in the budget speech and the economic survey are different. There is a mismatch. Many members said that. But I just want to say, sir, for 22-23, the projected growth in the economic survey is 8 to 8.5%. They've given a band. The economic survey gave a band of growth which is 8 to 8.5. The estimates of RBI are different. As they are doing their own projection, their estimates are slightly different. Now, with this projected growth rate, to arrive at a nominal growth rate figure, you will have to top it up with the deflator. GDP growth rate in the budget projection, sir, 22-23 was based on the advanced estimates of the NSO, which is given by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. That is a different strand, so their numbers will also be slightly different, but the trend and the number largely are in the same level, the same sort of quartile. So the difference by itself does not account for too much, except for the fact that the advanced estimates based on which we projected the figure of GDP growth in the budget was prior to the Omicron. What we have done is we've also taken the Omicron into consideration and used that figure, and therefore the budget projections are looking at 22-23 a nominal GDP of 11.1. So there is no difference, there is no much worry if the numbers are different. Economic survey takes it from one source, we take it from another, all of us use our deflators, and roughly they are about similar ranges. So the about WPI, there was a voice which was raised. Of course, that's in double digit, whereas CPI has been remaining in the range, and therefore we expect to have about a deflator of 3.5%. So that clarity I just wanted to bring to the notice of the honorable members who spoke about mismatch in the two GDP growth figures. Sir, I'll come to this topic which most members did raise as a concern, unemployment. Members quoted from the speeches and mentioned that only 60 lakh jobs are being talked about. So that was only for one of the schemes for which we said this scheme, because of this scheme, there will be about 60 lakhs. And that is the PLI scheme. So that doesn't mean that's the only scheme in which we are looking at generating employment. First principle is Sir, employment generation would be a natural outcome. I'm just saying this to start with. I know members are waiting to pounce on me because I've said this line. Let's understand the context. Because just for PLI, when I said 60 lakh jobs, it was presumed, if I'm not faulted at, presumed conveniently, saying that's all is the job you're creating. Not at all. In that scheme, that's a job. In general, when we're talking of high growth, in general, we are spending on infrastructure and looking at railways, roadways, building of multimodal transport, logistic hub, inland waterways, power generation, renewable energy. These are not going to happen without jobs. Latest periodic labor force survey, which Adirji also referred during his speech, indicates that urban unemployment rate in January to March quarter of 21-22 has declined to pre-pandemic level of 9% after peaking to 20.8% during the first wave, April-June quarter 2020-21. So employment data which is being given by the same periodic labor force survey which Adir Ranjan Chaudhary ji mentioned, I am telling you the figure, urban unemployment, I am repeating here. Urban unemployment rate in January-March quarter of 21-22 has declined to pre-pandemic level of 9% after peaking at 20.8. So in November 2021, we saw a net addition in the EPFO, and their net subscription, newer, meaning net subscription makes up for those who have gone away and those who newly have come in. Net addition to EPFO subscription saw a peak at 13.9 lakh new subscribers, an increase of 109.21% over the previous year, and the highest in any given month since 2017. So that's about employment, where again, member Abdul Samad Samdani, IUML, Mr. Arif, CPIM, Dinesh Chandra Yadavji, JDU, Bhartruhari Mehtabji, BJD, and Shashi Tharoorji had spoken about unemployment. So I'm giving you some also, sorry, Farooq Abdullah ji also. Sir, reduction of Manrega. So Manrega is a demand-driven program. As and when there is demand, through the supplementary demand for grants, we give the additional required amounts, but we have not reduced from the BE compared to BE. The amount has remained same, and it is this government which, having given in the BE 64,000 crores in 2020-21, raised it to 1,11,000 crores for Manrega. So, when the demand comes, we give them the monies which is required for keeping the Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. I just want to quote BE 21-22, 73,000 crores. RE increased to 98,000 crores and BE again 73,000 crores. There is no reduction, and this is a demand-driven program. As and when the demand comes, we will be giving it. It's never been let down. Sir, this issue of Manrega, again, Abdul Samad Samadani, Shri N.K. Premchandran ji, Kalyan Banerjee ji, Sudeep Bandopadhyay ji, Bhartruhari Mehtab ji, Ranjit Reddy ji, Shri Muralidharan ji, Farooq Abdullah ji, Kahir Ahmed ji, M.K. Raghavan ji, and Professor Saugata Roy. Also, Shashi Tharoor ji. So all of them had raised this. The estimates which have been mentioned, sir, are always the best estimates, and they are subject to also changes as and when the demands come, which I've already said that. So there was this concern about social welfare schemes are getting reduced allocations, which is not true again. I'll just give you an indication in lakh crores. SC, BE 21-22, RE 21-22, BE 22-23. That's the sequence in which I'm reading. Scheduled caste 1.26 BE 21-22, RE 1.4, where it was 1.2 in the BE. BE 22-23, 1.42, higher than the BE of last year, higher than the RE of last year. That is about SC welfare. ST welfare, again 21-22 BE, RE, and then BE of 22-23. 0.8, 0.87, 0.89 lakh crores. Not reduced at all, on the contrary, increasing.
More than the rate of inflation, ma'am. These factors decrease.
I've explained CPI inflation. I've explained the breach of beyond 6.9, 6 points had happened only 1-2 months, not before. That I'd said earlier also. Even now I'm saying compare the inflations where we were talking about the double digit. And actually I should give you the figures to say, in spite of that, BE numbers were big. One character which all of us should understand of the UPA government. Every time, I wish I had that number with me. I have it for a few criteria, but I'll show it. Every time the BE will be a big number, the RE will be half of it. The next year BE will be based on the RE of last year, unachieved. Continuously. So, because I've come into that topic, I'll say this. Look at what has been spent in 2013-14 for health. UPA, 2013-14, 37,330 crores. What was actually spent? 28,662 crores. They'll put big numbers in BE but never utilize it. And then now we'll say, all right, but what about inflation? All right, what about actual? All right, what about the RE? Keep shifting the milepost. But someone please answer from the UPA, why do you put big BEs and end of the day, at the actual stage, you find not even half being spent. And this was health in 2013-14. Now, what have we done? BE, where it was 37,330 crores, we are doing 89,250 now, 2022-23. So, inflation, no inflation, what is the comparison, madam, sir? Again, education. Education, I'm sure quite a few of you all are very keenly interested. What was the amount in 2013-14, sir? BE, big number, BE, 1,06,201. BE. What was RE? 71,322. Will somebody ask them as to where did it go? Why did you have to put so much of an amount in BE and couldn't even spend it in RE? Whereas what are we now saying? I'll go to the year in which the actual is available. Actual is available for 2020-2021. हम कंपेयर करेंगे हमारे BE हमारे actual के साथ. हमारा BE क्या था? 99,311 crores. What was the actual spent? I can hear whispers of lower. Come to the actual. 84,219. 1 लाख लगा दिया, खर्च 71,000 ही हुआ. हम लगा रहे 99, मगर अचीव किए 84,000. उनके एक्चुअल से ज्यादा हमारा खर्च हो रही है. So please, I'll give you everything that you want. Actual number में कटौती है जी. Okay? Sir, like that I can go on giving numbers for every one of them. SC, ST I just mentioned, sir. So I'll come for that also. 2013-14 में scheduled tribes के लिए 24,598 BE. 2013-14. No cherry picking. आप पिक करो जी चेरी. आप चेरी पिक करो. आपके रिकॉर्ड इतना खराब है, आप जितने भी चेरी पिक करो अच्छा नहीं मिलेगा.
खराब है कांग्रेस वाले, खराब है कांग्रेस वाले, खराब है
शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स.
कांग्रेस खराब है
सर. शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स के लिए माननीय स्पीकर सर 24,598 BE में और एक्चुअल में 22,000 ही उपयोग में आया 2013-14 में. हम 89,265 BE में दिए. 24 कहाँ है, 89 कहाँ है? शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स. शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट में आएंगे 41,561 13-14 में BE. हम क्या कर रहे हैं अभी? 1,42,342 हमारा BE. So, SC वेलफेयर हो, ST वेलफेयर हो, प्रश्न पूछ सकते हैं बार बार. Hey, what have you done for SC? What have you? Number speak, sir. चेरी पिकिंग आप भी करो. एक भी चेरी नहीं है आपके बास्केट में. सब कोयला है.
2GB है थोड़ा सा. 2GB है थोड़ा.
2GB है. 2GB है.
कॉमनवेल्थ भी है आपके पास. करो कॉमनवेल्थ का चेरी पिकिंग. 2G स्पेक्ट्रम है, कोयला है, कोयला.
सर, ऑनरेबल स्पीकर सर, माइनॉरिटी वेलफेयर के ऊपर प्रश्न पूछा गया. आई लाइक टू आंसर दैट. एंड द मेंबर्स हु आस्क्ड अबाउट दिस आर MIM's इम्तियाज जलील जी, RF जी फ्रॉम CPM and Abdul Samad Samdani ji IUML. Sir, allocations for minority affairs. BE 22-23, which is now on the table of the parliament, 5,021 crore, which is 16%, 16% increase over the RE. RE of 2021-22, sir, was 4,346 crore. उससे बढ़कर के BE में ही हमने 16% का बढ़ोतरी किए. Okay? Outlay for education and empowerment of minority girls. इसके ऊपर भी बहुत प्रश्न आया, मैं उसका भी जवाब दे रही हूँ. BE पहले RE 21-22 इस साल जो खत्म होने वाली है उसमें RE 1215 crores, whereas the BE is 1382 crores. ये अमाउंट बढ़ गए 1200 से 1300 तक। सर बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है सर, ये सब बजट स्पीच में बोलना था और लंबा चौड़ा भाषण दे रही हो आप 2 घंटे का, वो भी बोल दो। अभी भी मैं बोल रही हूं सर, मेरा स्पीच इस बार 1.5 hours हो सकता है, मगर पूरे बजट के डॉक्यूमेंट्स में ये सब है। मैं रेस्पेक्टफुली कहना चाह रही हूं, मेंबर जो बजट स्पीच में कहना था बोलने वाले, जरा बजट का डॉक्यूमेंट्स पूरे आपके ईमेल में पहुंचा हुआ है, डॉक्यूमेंट को देख लीजिए, उसमें थोड़ा अध्ययन करिए, फिर आकर ये बात बोलिए। बजट स्पीच में हर विषय बोल दिया तो आपका क्या है, अध्ययन करने का मन नहीं है, क्रिटिसाइज करने के लिए तैयार है, थोड़ा अध्ययन करो। सर हेल्थ के ऊपर एक और मिनट में एक बात रखना चाह रही हूं। हेल्थ का बजट कम हो गया है बोलने वाले के लिए जवाब, 2019-20 में 64,000 crores, 2020-2021 में 80,000 crores, फिर 21-22 RE 85,915 crores बढ़कर आ रही है। 22-23 जो बजट अभी इधर पार्लियामेंट के सामने है उसमें 86,606 crores हेल्थ सेक्टर के लिए सर। फिर हाँ बिल्कुल जरूर बोलेंगे। सी
मिनट, ये रामदास जी अटावले जी की बात सुन लो, क्या बोल रहे थे रामदास जी आप?
नहीं स्पीकर सर, मैं बोल रहा था कि जिन्होंने देश के लिए बहुत सारा दे दिया है धन, जिन्होंने देश के विकास के लिए बहुत सारा दे दिया है धन, उनका नाम है निर्मला सीतारमन।
अरे वाह,
तो देश की मजबूत करनी है नरेंद्र मोदी जी को जान, देश के सभी लोगों की मजबूत करनी है नरेंद्र मोदी जी को जान, दे दो नरेंद्र मोदी जी की तरफ दिल से ध्यान।
माननीय मंत्री जी,
2024 में नरेंद्र मोदी जी का आएगा तूफान, 2024 में नरेंद्र मोदी जी का आएगा तूफान, और कांग्रेस वाला कट जाएगा, कांग्रेस वाला कट जाएगा, टीएमसी वाला हट जाएगा, और बाकी का भटक जाएगा।
स्पीकर सर,
आप अगर डिस्टर्बेंस करोगे तो रामदास जी अटावले जवाब देंगे।
Sir, Speaker, sir, COVID-related health preparedness package. Several members raised question about you did it that year, but are you not doing this year? Didn't you do it this year? So, expenditure on COVID-related health preparedness package. In 2020-21, the year in which we had severe COVID, 12,117 crores was spent on preparedness. 21-22, it's gone up and it is now 15,731 crores of rupees. That is purely for preparing preparedness packages wherever it is required. So allocation for Ministry of Health and Family Welfare which was 64,000, which I have already mentioned in 1920, has been increased to 86,000 crores in the BE of 22-23, which is a 35% increase. Many members normally ask, what is the percentage? 35% increase. The allocations in the year 2021, 21-22 also include COVID-19 related emergency health preparedness packages. Sir, one other additional information on the health. In BE 22-23, 5,846 crores has been allocated under PM Abhim, Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. That scheme to develop capacities in the health systems and institutions in responding effectively to the current and any, God forbid, any future pandemic or disaster. So that's about health, sir. Sir, there were questions again about, before I come to the education, sir, there was question about child labor. Child labor.
Sir, Rambaan.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there was this question, sir, if there was reduced allocation for child labor. I want to just suggest here, sir, the allocation to the National Child Labor Project in Ministry of Labor and Employment is for committed liabilities of schools run by the ministry till 31st March 2023. Now, this program is also being subsumed under Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan from 22-23. So it's not getting closed, it's getting subsumed into the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan and under the Department of School Education. And Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan has an outlay of 37,383 crores for this year, for which the budget is presented. So through this shift, we think the focus on integrated child labor management and also mainstreaming children coming out of child labor will be far more focused through the education department. And that is why this has been done. And you're already aware that for bridging the gap of education lost, we've brought in 200 television channels from where it was 12 through e-Vidya. We expect to have that fulfilling the needs of children in poorer government schools, poorer families who can't afford to buy a phone. Sir, just very quickly, I'll go to education, because that's also something on which many members wondered if I had reduced the allocation. I have not reduced the allocation. 2020-21, it was 84,219 crores. In the RE of 2021-22, it went up to 88,000 crores. And this year, for the first time, it is over 18% increase, rising to 1,04,000 crores for education. So also, sorry? Mr. Arif, I think I've answered quite a few of your questions. I'm coming. More of your questions are being answered. There will be quite a lot of members who will say, why partiality? Only Mr. Arif's questions are being answered. That's all. 1 lakh, over 1 lakh budget is given for education. I'm sure they'll take care of your needs also. Sir, MSME sector. This has been quite a concern of lots of members, because MSME in India is the backbone of India's manufacturing. It is actually all over the country, and they need the support. We have definitely taken a lot of schemes to reach them. 20,000 crores has been given to the subordinate debt for MSMEs, which will help MSMEs which are already in distress. Second, 3 lakh crore of collateral-free automatic loans for businesses, which has been enhanced to 4.5 lakh crores, and another 50,000 has been added for those in hospitality sector. New revised criteria of classification for MSMEs have also brought in greater possibilities for them to improve their business, expand their business. So for MSMEs, we have actually brought in segments of MSMEs, heard them, understood their problem, and therefore extended quite a few assistance. Just for the records, that scheme, which was the Emergency Credit Liquidity Guarantee Scheme, has also now been extended till 2023 March. So those MSMEs who still want to benefit out of it, who have not earlier used it, are welcome to use it. So the amounts of loans sanctioned under the Emergency Credit Liquidity Guarantee Scheme is up to 3.10 lakh crores. Guarantee space left under that scheme is still 1.4 lakh crore, because what we provide is just the government security, meaning government guarantee, emergency guarantee is being given. Amount of disbursement made, 2.36 lakh crores have already been dispersed. They've gone to the hands of the MSMEs, 2.36 lakh crores. So I'm coming almost to the end of those clarifications which members wanted. Food and fertilizer subsidy. Again, an issue on which several members spoke. In the RE of 21-22, allocation for food subsidy is 2.86 lakh crores. This is higher because Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, under which around 1 lakh crore additional allocation has been made in food subsidy. Food subsidy allocation for 22-23 is 2.07 lakh crores, which is best estimate that is based on the requirement at this point in time. So there is no reduction in the food subsidy. Fertilizer subsidy, sir. Fertilizer subsidy. All of us know that last year, the global price of fertilizers went up. We import quite a lot of fertilizers. That increased cost in the global fertilizer market, we from the government bore that cost, imported it, and gave it at the same price to the farmers, did not allow the price increase in the global markets. After all, we don't manufacture those particular fertilizers which we import, but imported it at that higher price, but didn't put the burden on the farmer. So that is one thing which we have to keep in mind. 21-22, that is the year which is ending 31st March, 79,530 crores have been given as fertilizer subsidy. In the RE, because of the global increase in the price, this 79,530 crores has gone up to 1,40,000 crores, not a burden on the farmer, but that money is something which Government of India has put, and therefore the burden has been taken on the government's shoulders and not moved over to the farmers. To limit the damage inflicted by the pandemic, government had announced a special economic and comprehensive package of 29.87 lakh crores through Atmanirbhar Bharat, and that includes the measures taken by RBI also. Sir, PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, we all know, was 1.70 lakh crores, ex gratia of 1,000 in 2 installments of 500 rupees were given to old age citizens, widows, disabled beneficiaries of National Social Assistance Program, NSAP, and so on. Sir, I just want to highlight on income inequality, there's been a lot of issues raised. I want to just say that the policy of financial inclusion, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, I have already spoken to you, number of accounts, the amount which are there. Then Within the next year, after in 2015, having introduced in 14 Jan Dhan Yojana, in 15 we brought in Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. In that, 32.11 crore loans, 32.11 crore loans have been given with a sanctioned amount of 17 lakh crores. This has created an additional employment of 1.2 crore additional employment has been created between 2015 and 18. Hey, wait, you've asked a lot of questions, I'm answering. You should wait now. Despite 2021 being the pandemic year, 15 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, measured by the Niti Aayog in the SDG index, have all been included for reducing inequalities, because that is one of the very important goals we follow. Sir, I'm not getting into the total amount of tax devolution which is available in the public domain. That is one of the points on which a lot of members raised question. I don't want to take more time. There are one or two important other points which I'll speak about. Sir, agrarian issue के ऊपर, agriculture के ऊपर बहुत सारे प्रश्न आया. I just want to give some highlights. 2013-14, expenditure of Department of Agriculture and Cooperation was about 19,000 crores. 13-14, last year of UPA. Agriculture के ऊपर 19,000 crores था उनके budget. This has been increased by Prime Minister Modi by 6.6 times, and today it is 1.24 lakh crores. Where is 19,000 crore? Where is 1.24 crores? Out of this, 68,000 crores will be transferred in DBT mode to the bank accounts of the farmers, which periodically Prime Minister conveys through DBT. Sir, fertilizer subsidy, I have explained, 79,530 crores. Then this got enhanced to 1.4 lakh crores. So, fertilizer subsidy. Agricultural infrastructure fund has been created with a size of 1 lakh crore. Agricultural infrastructure fund. That's been brought by us, and I want to highlight the importance of it. Infrastructure is main critical point, and we wanted to continue strengthening that. That has been announced by us. So, the formation of 10,000 FPOs, farmer producer organizations, 10,000 are being supported, and that number is also getting increased. So somebody said that there's no provision being made for the armed forces. Defense ke liye kuch zyada nahi diya. Allocation of capital outlay on defense services has been increased from 1.35 lakh crores in 21-22 to 1.52 lakh crores in 22-23, which is an increase of 13%, and this is just capital outlay. In 22-23, 68% of all the capital procurement is earmarked for domestic industry. 25% of all defense R&D budget will be allowed and opened up for startups, academia, and for industry, so that domestic procurement can be improved. Sir, Adir ji, I'm sorry on that. आपने इतना उसके ऊपर जोरदार इमोशन के साथ बात कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए तुरंत मैं जवाब दे रही हूं. मुझे मालूम है मैं सर, आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के ऊपर गलत बयान, सॉरी मैं गलत बोल रही हूं, जो पार्लियामेंट्री शब्द है, मैं कुछ और नहीं बोल रही हूं, दैट्स मिसलीडिंग। आर्म फोर्सेस के ऊपर कोई भी निर्णय इस सरकार का विदाउट द आर्म फोर्सेस हेडक्वार्टर्स अग्रीइंग होता नहीं है। सो डिसेबिलिटी के ऊपर आपने क्यों नहीं जी, आर्म फोर्सेस हेडक्वार्टर्स ने जो भी सुझाव दिया उसके ऊपर ही हम स्टेप लेते हैं। इसीलिए आर्म फोर्सेस हेडक्वार्टर्स से ज्यादा, आर्म फोर्सेस के हेडक्वार्टर्स से ज्यादा क्या अधीर रंजन जी आर्म फोर्सेस के ऊपर बात करते हैं? ये क्या है? आर्म फोर्सेस हेडक्वार्टर्स से ज्यादा मुझे इनके और उनके बातों में आना है क्या? उनके हेडक्वार्टर्स को मालूम नहीं है क्या? इसीलिए गलत फहमियां स्प्रेड करना आर्म फोर्सेस के ऊपर गलत है। आर्म फोर्सेस के ऊपर, इस देश का रक्षक के ऊपर गलत फहमियां फैलना गलत है। आदिर जी, आप जो भी टिप्पणी हमारे ऊपर डाल दीजिए, उसका जवाब मैं दूंगी, मगर इस देश का रक्षा करने के वाले के ऊपर मिसलीडिंग इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं देना, नहीं देना, नहीं, गलत है। माननीय स्पीकर साहब,
मैं अधीर रंजन जी को आपके माध्यम से आग्रह करना चाहता हूं, जो बात उनके मन में है वो मुझे लगता है ठीक दिशा में है, लेकिन उनको कोई मैसेज कर रहा है मोबाइल पर कि ऐसा करो, और उसके कारण वो मोबाइल देखते हैं और फिर खड़े हो जाते हैं, मोबाइल देखते हैं और फिर खड़े हो जाते हैं, ये ठीक नहीं है।
रेस्पेक्टेड स्पीकर सर, एक आध और विषय है जिसके ऊपर
माननीय मंत्री जी,
सर, some members raised question about BSNL. I have the minister next to me who has been patiently answering a lot of questions in the morning. Because that became a part of the budget discussion, I want to explain a few things, sir. BSNL, what?
ना क्या बोलना, आप गाइड नहीं करेंगे। आप इनका बैठे हुए खड़े हुए कोई जवाब मत दो। आप
Thank you, sir. Sir, BSNL again has been subject to a lot of misinformation. BSNL has been subject to a lot of misinformation. I want to clarify some of them. People who couldn't give 4G to BSNL today are sitting and asking questions about BSNL, whose revival is because of Prime Minister Modi. Revival of BSNL is thanks to Prime Minister Modi, and I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how. आप सुनिए, आप सुनिए।
सुनो भाई।
Sir, when I tell the facts, they want to shut me down. Don't shout me down, Honorable Kodikunil Suresh ji. Don't shout me down. Have the patience to hear. Sir, BSNL was formed in 2000, but there was an agreement at that time that there will be license fee, annual license fee, which will be reimbursed till 2010. However, in 2006, with 4 years to go, the UPA government stopped paying the reimbursement. 2000 में agree हुआ, नहीं दिए reimbursement. मैं धीरे धीरे बोल रही हूँ, BSNL का ICU में रहने का कगार में क्यों आना पड़ा? कारण कांग्रेस। 2006 में रीइंबर्समेंट देना रोक गए। फिर सेकंड,
दलाल नहीं आए थे उनके पास।
2010 में MTNL को अचानक बोला गया कि ऑक्शन में जो प्राइस तय हुआ उसके अनुसार आपने पैसा भरो ब्रॉडबैंड वायरलेस एक्सेस के लिए। तब तक जो MTNL कैश रिच कंपनी था वो अचानक 11,000 करोड़ भर्ती करना पड़ा, जिसके कारण ओवरनाइट MTNL became a loss making company। BSNL को धीरे धीरे मरवाओ, MTNL को मरवाओ। 2010 में ये भी हुआ। So MTNL paid this 11,000 because government said you have to pay. They paid it. They became a cash rich company, became a loss making sick company। वो सेकंड धीरे धीरे तैयारी हो रही है और करने के लिए सर। फिर सर फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट, अरे मेरा बात दबाने के लिए सच्चाई बाहर नहीं आना चाहिए, इसलिए दबाओ वॉइस। वो अटेम्प्ट हो रही है इधर।
दादा बैठो
सर 2014 फरवरी में, मोदी जी का सरकार अब तक नहीं है, 14 फरवरी में प्रपोजल था एनुअल फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट देने के लिए BSNL MTNL का। उसको पोस्टपोन कर दिया। पैसा नहीं देना, सपोर्ट नहीं देना, फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस नहीं देना, निर्णय ना लो। फरवरी 2014 में जो फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट देने का डिसीजन था उसको पोस्टपोन किया, फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट नहीं दिया, छोड़ कर गए। ऐसे BSNL को रीइंबर्समेंट नहीं किया, MTNL को फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट नहीं दिया, ओवरनाइट उनसे 11,000 करोड़ ले लिया और दोनों कंपनी का ऐसे छोड़ दिया। और दूसरे पाप क्या किया है इन्होंने? टेंडरिंग। नहीं, सुनिए सुनिए सुनिए, लिसन टू द सच्चाई। What did their neta tell us? Because they speak the truth. I'm speaking the truth. And look at the response. They can't face the truth. Sir, टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस में कितने बार डिले हुआ जिसके कारण BSNL नुकसान में पड़ना? टेंडरिंग प्रोसेस में एक बार नहीं, दो बार नहीं, मैं डेट बोल रही हूं। उनका एक्सपेंशन करने के लिए BSNL जब कोशिश कर रहा था, 2006 में फर्स्ट टाइम, 2008 में सेकंड टाइम, 2010 में टेंडर प्रोसेसिंग को पोस्टपोन करा, कुछ काम नहीं हुआ। 93 मिलियन लाइन्स एक्सपेंशन का प्लान था, वो तीनों का तीनों बर्बाद में चले गए। एक्सपेंशन किए
नहीं पहुंच पा रही थी, इसलिए
सर समरी में बोल रही हूँ, चला रहे ना।
इनका दुर्भाग्य है, ये यूडी मिनिस्टर थे, ये टेलीकॉम मिनिस्टर होते तो इतना इनको मिल जाता।
सर
बता रहे हैं दादाजी,
संक्षिप्त में
बात चला गया, ये छूट गए बेचारे।
संक्षिप्त में विषय बोल रही हूं। 2005 मार्च में BSNL का मार्केट शेयर था 19%, 19% मार्केट शेयर BSNL का। वो धीरे धीरे घट करके 7.96% में आ गया, इनके ये नॉन कोऑपरेटिव मेजर्स के वजह से। इनके इरादा ठीक नहीं था, BSNL को ऐसे छोड़ कर गए और वो इतना कगार, ऑलमोस्ट इन डेथ बेड BSNL आ पहुंचे। मोदी जी ने क्या किया वो भी सुन लेना चाहिए। मोदी जी ने क्या किया? अक्टूबर 2019 में कैबिनेट अप्रूव किया 69,000 करोड़ ऑफ फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट फॉर BSNL। 69,000 करोड़। और वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट के लिए जो स्टाफ आगे आए उनको पैसा दिया, फिर सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ BSNL raised 8,500 crore once, 6,500 crores MTL raised the next time, and all these amounts have been utilized. सुनिए सर, चमकदार विषय, ये मार्केट में 8,500 करोड़ का लोन और 6,500 करोड़ का दूसरा लोन सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ दोनों कंपनी लेकर के उनके पास जितनी भी हाई इंटरेस्ट रेट में कम लोन लिया गया, हाई इंटरेस्ट लोन्स को पूरे क्लियर कर दिए। नहीं तो वो इंटरेस्ट भी पे कर नहीं सकते, लोन भी मेंटेन कर नहीं सकते, उसका भी पैसा इस बार हमने किया सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ, जब उनके समय में उनको बेसिक सपोर्ट भी नहीं दिया। आज क्या मगरमच्छ का आंसू BSNL के ऊपर? सर और पैसा देना और सुन लीजिए,
दादा को हिस्सा कब मिला उस टाइम? दादा को कब मिला? DMK को ज्यादा मिल गया, दादा को कब मिला? दर्द है दादा को।
सर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव बार बार बोलते हैं 4G दे रही हो, BSNL को 4G दे रही हो, 5G का जमाना आ गए, इनके जमाने में 4G नहीं दिया, हमसे पूछ रहे 4G दे रही हो, 10 साल बैठे कुछ नहीं किए। मगर administrative allotment of BSNL spectrum for BSNL and MTL for rolling out 4G and spectrum for current operations and also for 5G services 24,000 हमने दिया है BSNL को। आप लिस्ट करिए, मैंने बोला 69,000 करोड़ मार्केट से 8,500 करोड़ सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ, 6,500 करोड़ सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ, फिर 24,000 crores for 4G which is almost already 10 years late. उनके जमाने में देना था 4G, नहीं दिए, हम वो भी दे रहे हैं। वो ठीक है जी, ठीक है, इन सब का जवाब आप दो सर। और सर 5G भी आएगा।
दादा को कब मिला? दादा को कर दिया, इनको कब मिला? सब DMK में चला गया माल,
सर
इनको कब मिला?
एक और विषय सर, जो ये बार
अभी अंबानी से बोलेंगे आपको भिजवा देंगे, दादा को कब मिला?
सर मिनिमम सपोर्ट जो सरकार देना था उनके समय पर वो नहीं किया। हमने इतने सारे करने के बाद वो मिनिमम सपोर्ट भी हम BSNL के दे रहे हैं, वो क्या है? Shame on you, members, Shashi Tharoor. You look at the sir, इनका खरीज देखिए, इनका मैं बोल रही हूँ, खड़े होकर के पूछ रहे प्रश्न। What is सर पार्लियामेंट्री लिमिटेशन है, नहीं तो मैं बात बोलने वाली हूँ, इससे ज्यादा क्षमा करिए अगर इट्स अनपार्लियामेंट्री। इतना भी शेमलेस नहीं होना चाहिए सर, इतना भी शेमलेस नहीं। Come on, what's this? Not done, Shashi Tharoor. सर मैंने एक बात बोल रहे थे कि 65,000 करोड़, 64,000 करोड़, कुछ और पैसा इंतजाम करते आ रहे हैं। एक मिनिमम सपोर्ट का बात, टू प्रोमोट mandatory utilization of BSNL and MTNL capacities by all departments and ministries in the government and also by government undertakings and bodies of the central government. An office memorandum has been issued to all state governments also for utilizing the capacities of BSNL and MTNL on a mandatory basis. हम वो भी कर रहे हैं, मैंडेटरी सरकारी के कामकाज में BSNL और MTL को उपयोग करो। ये सिर्फ सरकार के डिपार्टमेंट्स में सिर्फ नहीं, हमारे पब्लिक सेक्टर अंडरटेकिंग्स में भी और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स में भी। कम से कम ये भी नहीं किए यूपीए के समय में, ये भी नहीं किए। BSNL का आज आंसू बह रहा है। मगरमच्छ का आंसू। सर हाँ थैंक यू सर। सर माननीय मेंबर सुप्रिया सूले जी ने बहुत सारे विषय उठाए and I had responded to few of them then itself. But one important issue, sir, which probably also many other members had in their mind, that this government is only raising cesses and surcharges, which doesn't get devolved. Between 14th Finance Commission, 13th to 14th, already it was raised to 42%. Now it's come to 41 because J&K is no more a state. Having raised that much, that is also going. But by central government collecting cesses, central government doesn't sit with that cess. I'll just give a number which will tell you. What is collected, after all, has to go to the states for using. Does Government of India sit on that money and do anything in particular? It goes through various programs, centrally sponsored programs, central sector schemes, and also through specific programs which have to be done in the states. I'll just give a total amount, sir. Sir, central transfers to states have not come down. ये devolution से हट करके बात है. From about 6 lakh crores in 13-14, 39% of the gross receipts of the center, including state share in central taxes, resources transferred to the states have increased to almost 17 lakh crore in the current budget. Matlab, 60% of the gross revenue receipts of the center, a nearly threefold increase has happened, so we don't sit with the cesses. Unbelievable, sir. Anyway.
शांत बैठो, शांति से आराम करो, आराम करो।
दादा ने बता दिया, दादा ये हो गई, दादा ने बता दिया ये हो गई।
माननीय स्पीकर सर,
दादा ने बता दिया।
एक छोटा चीज है, मगर जिसके ऊपर बहुत सारे particularly केरला में बहुत concern है. Question about raising duties on umbrella. Prior to the budget, sir, umbrellas, matlab chhatri, umbrellas attracted a basic custom duty of 10% BCD, whereas parts of umbrellas attracted only 5% BCD. Sir, pre-budget consultation के समय हमें बहुत सारे representation आया, and उस representation MSME umbrella industrial association के द्वारा भी हमें मिला. हम सिर्फ इसका इम्पोर्टेंस समझ लें. छतरी छोटा चीज है, मगर समझ लें इसका इम्पोर्टेंस. 25 मिलियन छतरियां, मतलब 25 मिलियन umbrellas, piece by piece गिन लें. 25 million umbrellas come to this country every year and gets imported from only one country, and you know which country that is. 25 million umbrellas are imported into this country every year. और MSME umbrella industrial association, वो सब छोटे कारोबार चलाने वाले, उनका कहना था ये क्या है, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अंदर हम should we not be protected? इसलिए ये domestic industries को हानिकारक है. So because they were hurting the domestic small umbrella manufacturers in India, we've raised the duty from 10% to 20% so that at least our own people can produce. 25 million is getting imported, pieces of umbrellas, 25 million coming into this country every year, and that too from one country. Kyun? Karne mein galat kya hai? And this is not against any one state or anybody, everybody uses umbrella. But those industries which are there producing that, should we not protect them? Uske upar bhi itna shor machana. Sir,
अखबार पढ़ लिया करो, 150 आईटी बन गई, 150 बन गई, कुछ पढ़ के आया करो, कुछ पढ़ के आया करो। हाँ, आईटी 150 बन गई, देश में 150, पढ़ के आया करो कुछ।
सर,
150 बन गई।
सर,
उस तरह की बात करना ठीक है।
150 बन गई।
माननीय सदस्य प्लीज, माननीय सदस्य प्लीज बैठिए माननीय सदस्य, आपस में बात मत करें। आप मंत्री जी जवाब दें।
माननीय स्पीकर सर,
आप जवाब दें मंत्री जी।
सर, थैंक यू स्पीकर सर। प्रोफेसर सौगता रॉय,
माननीय मंत्री जी।
Manya Speaker sir, Professor Saugata Roy raised this question about World Bank has dropped ease of doing business. Why are you talking about it? Didn't you know that the World Bank has dropped it? Sir, World Bank may produce ease of doing reports, that's fine. But compliance burden on Indian business will have to go World Bank report or no report. Compliance burden on our Indian businessmen, chote businessmen, will all have to go. That is why 25,000 compliance burdens have been removed by us. And for an honorable member, a senior member, to think that we are doing it only for this World Bank report's sake, he misses the point that ease of doing business is anyway required for our members, those who are doing the business. And therefore, that is why nearly 1,500, all those not so relevant Kanun have been removed. And that was possible because Prime Minister Modi had the conviction that our businessmen should have ease of doing business. They should not be burdened by compliances which are too much for them to keep, by laws which are leading to rent seeking, corruption, and therefore remove all of them down. So 25,000 compliances have been removed, 1,500 laws have been removed so that ease of doing business will come in. And I want therefore that point to be absorbed by the member who threw it thinking, oh, the minister doesn't know anything. He did not listen to the budget speech. I want to highlight this. Without having heard the budget speech, for him to yesterday in such a fashion throw it at me, unfortunately, was so unbecoming of a senior member. I want to put it before you, sir, that this is an unbecoming behavior of a very senior member of the opposition who spoke in such words, and I condemn it. Sir, last, just one or 2 points which I'll finish. Unfortunately, the member who raised it is not here, so I'm not going to get into the detail of the kind of questions and the kind of allegations that were made. Again, in spite of the fact that the member is not here, I seek your indulgence on just one point. I'm not going to go into the details of all that he raised, but on one point because it was factually incorrect. Probably there were many other points which were factually incorrect, but I am going on one point on which in my absence, and my absence was very much with the permission of the House, with the permission of the Speaker's office, and with the permission of the Parliamentary Affairs, and with members, cabinet ministers sitting in the House, and with my respectful member, Minister of State, my colleague, being here, a point was raised that she's just a nominated member, and how arrogant can she be that she's not here to hear my speech? I'd like to please correct the fact. I am not a nominated member. I'm elected to the Rajya Sabha. And here I want to add up, nominated members are also dignified members who are chosen because their contribution to the society is important, and therefore they are given a place in the Rajya Sabha. And if members of Rajya Sabha are being mocked at, members of Rajya Sabha are also part of the constitutional provision of this country, and they are also entitled, if so chosen by it's a privy of the Prime Minister, to be a member of the Rajya Sabha who could become a minister here. And if that is hurting, let me ask them, why were they sitting in the cabinet of Dr. Manmohan Singh? Why could they come out? 10 full years they were seated in the cabinet when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who all of us respect, who was a member of the Rajya Sabha, as Prime Minister, and in that cabinet, that member's respected. I also hold a great regard for that member's father, that member's party. We're all members of that cabinet. And that member's respected father, who I have been a commerce minister. And the first thing I learned from my senior ministers was that excellent role that honorable member's father, I'm not taking anybody's name, that respected member's father had played such a wonderful role in defending India's rights in Doha WTO meet. He was also 3 times the member of the Rajya Sabha. The father, the esteemed father, the respected father, on whom I personally, and I will take the name of my mentor, Sri Arun Jaitley, who personally also has said that wonderful role that person has played as a Minister of Commerce and Industry in the Doha meet. And in 2014, when I became the Commerce Minister, the kind of struggle we had to undergo to correct an error which was committed by the UPA government in having given away our right to secure food procurement policy. Today they are speaking about right to food. They are speaking about distribution of rice through ration cards. If only 2013 UPA government's agreement to the WTO had been implemented, from 2017 January, sir, this country couldn't have procured rice from the farmers. We couldn't have distributed rice through the MSP. Today they are talking about the Garib Kalyan. They today are asking, what are you doing to the farmers? They sold away the right to the farmers. They sold away the procurement right of this country. 2013 में बाली एग्रीमेंट करके वापस आए, अगर वो एग्रीमेंट वैसे के वैसे रहे, 2017 से हम खरीद नहीं पाएंगे एमएसपी के दाम पर, किसान से कुछ भी खरीदारी होने का संभावना नहीं था, और रेशन कार्ड के द्वारा आज जो हम दे रहे गरीब के लिए अन्न, गेहूं, वो सब नामुमकिन की बात था 2013 के। मैं इस विषय को अभी इसीलिए जोड़ रही हूं कि WTO में एक जमाना था जब वो सीनियर मेंबर ऑफ दैट पार्टी, whose honorable son was here and who accused me of being a member of the Rajya Sabha and therefore arrogant, that respected father who I respect a lot and who all of us appreciate for the wonderful role that he played in Doha WTO, was also a member of the Rajya Sabha 3 times. So, What happened? क्यों? हाँ? Bali agreement, go read it. You'll know how you agreed and sold away the right of India to procure rice from the farmers. It was Modi who corrected that. Don't, सर इसके ऊपर चिल्लाने में फायदा नहीं है। मैं पार्लियामेंट में 2019 में 2014 में 15 में स्टेटमेंट दे चुकी हूं दैट बाली एग्रीमेंट के वजह से हमारे किसान से खरीदारी एमएसपी के ऊपर हो नहीं सकता था। साइन करके आए थे कांग्रेस पार्टी, हमने उसको बदला।
नियम बनाया नंबर बताओ, पॉइंट ऑफ नंबर नंबर क्या है? पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर का नंबर क्या है? रूल नंबर 353 पढ़ रखा मैंने। ये तो कॉमन है, 350 पढ़ रखा। माननीय मंत्री जी,
सर एनीथिंग? सर फैक्ट बोलना। सर ऑनरेबल स्पीकर सर, किसान के ऊपर हमने वो पीस क्लॉज, मैं लास्ट पॉइंट बोल रही हूं सर, हमने जो पीस क्लॉज WTO से 2014-15 में नहीं लिया तो आज किसान से खरीदारी होने का संभावना नहीं है। और सर दे शुड लिसन टू द फैक्ट्स। और रेशन कार्ड के ऊपर सर
जब नंगों के कपड़े उतरते हैं तो ऐसी भागते हैं, जब नंगों के कपड़े उतरते हैं तो ऐसी
माननीय मंत्री जी
वापस आ गए।
माननीय स्पीकर सर, जब सच्चाई सामने रखते हैं हम, ट्रूथ सामने बोलते हैं हम, वो चिल्ला करके मैदान छोड़ करके भाग जा रहे हैं। मैदान छोड़ करके भाग जाने वाले कांग्रेस, बार बार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के ऊपर टिप्पणी कटाक्ष करने वाले कांग्रेस और बाहर जाकर के बोलने वाले कांग्रेस, वी स्पीक ट्रूथ टू पावर बोलने वाले कांग्रेस, जब ट्रूथ उनके सामने रखा जा रहे हैं उनमें क्षमता कम से कम नहीं है। हाउस के अंदर बैठ करके सुन ले, अगर गलत है तो खड़े होकर के मुझे करेक्ट करें। गलत नहीं है, इस देश के किसान के हित को बेच देने वाले काम किए 2013 बाली एग्रीमेंट में, उसको करेक्ट करने वाला मोदी जी है। और आज गरीब के लिए अन्न हक के ऊपर बात करने वाले कांग्रेस, वो भी पीडीएस के द्वारा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन संभव हो नहीं था, वो 2017 में हमने 14-15 में हमने करेक्ट किया, नहीं तो इस देश में पुअर के लिए, गरीब के लिए अन्न मिलने के लिए पीडीएस प्रावधान भी खत्म होना था, वो सही किया मोदी जी ने। सो सर, हमारे बजट के ऊपर जितने भी प्रश्न पूछा गया उन सब के लिए हमने जवाब देने के लिए कोशिश किए। आप भी बहुत ही काइंडली बहुत समय लिया मैंने, फिर भी यू वर वेरी पेशेंट विद मी माननीय स्पीकर सर, उसके लिए बहुत ही धन्यवाद। थैंक यू वेरी मच।